So we're going to kick things off. This is a true underground story podcast presented by Overlooked Artist Hosting. I'm the host, Timmy Burner, and today I'm with Mxtive. Before we start, we're going to head and play a quick snippet of his new song, Reaper, off his new project.
Music and opened my mind, showed me that broken me, stoking the fire. Been pushed to my limits and forced to the edge. Made to face all of the shit in my head. Forced to stand up and to stand tall and plant my feet down so I can't fall. I looked for light but have only seen darkness. Looked at some souls but I saw they were heartless. Gave all I had for nothing in return. I've been through shit that I didn't deserve. I stood facing Hades and stared in his eyes. Screamed in his face that I'm not scared to die, but only afraid of what I'll leave behind. Told him to take me if it is my time. I don't fear the Reaper, I'm not scared to die. I don't fear.
Alright, that is a snippet off Reaper by Mxtive. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you're from?
So I am a hip-hop artist slash producer slash engineer from Michigan. Right now, currently living in Grand Rapids, but originally from the east side over in the Ann Arbor area.
All right. What was your childhood like? Did you grow up there in Michigan?
I did, yeah. So I mostly lived, I was born in like the Detroit area and then moved to Dexter slash like Ann Arbor around like 2. And then I lived there up until I went to college, which was back in 2017. So Michigan's all I've really known. Like, I haven't really lived anywhere else.
What was like your life like as a kid growing up in Michigan? What was like the winters and all that stuff like? Because I know winters get pretty hectic up there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the last time we had a super bad winter. The last few have been pretty mild, mostly. Bitter cold, not a whole lot of snow. I definitely remember there being a lot more snow when I was younger. But growing up here, I mean, I've had, at least where I was located, there was always kind of like it was a little bit of a suburban area. It wasn't like, there wasn't like a huge city. It was like a small town that I came from. So like but I was close enough to the city that I got kind of acclimated to like country style living and then like city style living. So it's like I grew up like looking at these really nice modern like architecture type places, but I've also grew up riding dirt bikes and hunting and doing all this different stuff. So I have a lot of different things that I like to do because of how I grew up.
Yeah, I grew up in a small town, so I get that. Like we were probably about 20 minutes away from like a major city. So grew up with a lot of the country lifestyle and everyone hunting around me.
Yeah, it's definitely a vibe for sure. I always like that. I wish that I still could do some of that stuff, but living where I live now, like I don't have the ability. Like
right.
I sometimes I just want to ride my dirt bike so bad. Like honestly, like I just want to go rip through some trails.
I don't think I've ever rode a dirt bike, but I've been on like little mini bikes and ATVs, and I like riding ATVs. It's just peaceful.
It is. It is.
So how long have you been making music now?
So I actually started like kind of getting involved in music back when I was like 5 years old. That was like the first time that I actually thought about doing anything with it, because I actually wanted a guitar super bad. So I started out with that. I actually started on this plastic guitar. It was just a toy, and I had been begging my parents for a real one, and they told me if I could learn one song on this little piece of crap plastic guitar that I could get a real one. And then so I learned that song, taught myself, learned one song, and then they bought me my first guitar, and then I got a few more. I was super involved in playing guitar and instruments when I was younger, but in about 2014-ish was about when I started like writing like actual lyrics down and started kind of getting more involved in the hip hop rap scene. And then ever since then, I've been in and out of different studios, working with different people and just kind of perfecting this craft. Like I finally feel like I found somewhere where I fit in, that I fit super well, I'm super comfortable with, and I'm getting better with, and it just kind of feels like I belong. So
yeah, I find that place. place to fit in. How did you come about using the stage name Mxtive with the spelling with the X for the O?
So my homie Eon Zero, actually, we were like, it was super early on. It was probably like 2016, 2017 when we first started hanging out. And I didn't really have a name because I was still dabbling in it. It was just, that was about when I started like really recording and taking it seriously, right around my senior year of high school. And then we were going through, he's like, you need a stage name. And we were like trying to come up with different stuff. And he suggested Mxtive. So for a while it was Mxtive, just like the word motive. And then I found that it was like really hard to find myself. Like you type in Mxtive on Google and nothing pops up.
Yeah.
So I don't even think it was a year ago. Maybe it was about a year ago, we'll say, is when I decided to like swap out the O for the X and make it more custom to myself. And now it's still hard. Like I pop up when you type me in Google, but like, and I'm easier to find on just about any like website, source, social media. But like sometimes like if you're using like a voice activated, like you can't say my name. Like, because like it just doesn't register the spelling. So it's like there was a trade-off with that, but being easier to find and separating out myself was where the X came from. It was, and plus it's like a modern thing. It's like what other people are doing. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I could do that. And I did. And I mean, I'm happy with the result. Like I now have like an artist page on Google, which I didn't have before, which is kind of cool.
It's a big step. What was some of the music you grew up listening to, whether it was by your choice or like what your parents had you listening to?
Okay, yeah. So growing up, my mom really liked country, and I really like that, but my dad actually put me on classic rock. So for as long as I can remember, I have been listening to classic rock. But it wasn't until, man, I had to have been 10 or 11. And I heard My Name Is on the radio by Eminem. And I was like, whoa, what the hell is this? Like, I was like, that sounds crazy. And I looked it up. I found out what it was, but like my mom did not want me listening to it at all. She thought Eminem was like this bad influence.
Right.
And like he's talking about doing drugs and killing his wife and shit. So just, she didn't want me involved in any of that. But I was hanging out with one of my good friends at the time, and his sister was a couple years older, and she actually, like, I asked her about it because she was listening to Eminem, and she burned me a whole like maybe 20 song disc, like CD, while I was at this kid's house one day, and it had all these Eminem songs on it, and I was like around the Recovery era, or yeah, it was like, or no, I think it was before Recovery. Okay, yeah, it was just before Recovery. So I had all these songs from like the Slim Shady LP up until
Relapse.
Huh?
Right.
Yeah, it was actually, I don't think it had any songs from Relapse on it. I was trying to think of the album before it, but right now I'm blanking. But it had a bunch of songs up until that era, and I had to hide that CD from my mom. And I would listen to it like on the bus ride to school. And that was essentially when I really started getting into like hip hop and like rap as like a genre, because I had no idea that it existed. Like I grew up on like the Rolling Stones and AC/DC,
right,
and all these classic rock bands. So finding something new like that was just mind blowing to me.
What was some country artists your mom had you listening to frequently?
I don't know of many, but I know that like Toby Keith was her favorite. So I grew up listening to a lot of Toby Keith.
Yeah. I mean, Toby Keith, I'm not a big country music fan, but every once in a while I can sit through a Toby Keith song if anything.
Fair enough. I mean, I didn't know a whole lot of like artist names back then. Like I was young. Like I was really young. So it's like she would play it in the car. Like I can't even remember. There's only one song I actually remember her listening to, and I can't even think of the name right now. But I remember the video, but it's not important.
Nah. What did your friends and like family think when you decided to start making music professionally?
My mom was super supportive. My close friends were super supportive. And they have been up until now. Like they've all been kind of holding me down. I definitely went through some kind of rough patches around like the high school kind of years of my life where I didn't really tell a whole lot of people. I still don't tell a whole lot of people that I do music, hip hop in particular. If it comes up in conversation, I will. But like, it's just one of those things nowadays where you get these weird looks where it's like, like somebody mentions that like, oh yeah, I rap and stuff. And they're like, oh, you rap? Like,
Yeah,
okay. And
the
then they,
stereotype of being like a local rapper.
yep, and I hate being stereotyped. So like
Yeah,
I'll progress myself on social media and like do these other things, but like actually having a casual conversation with people, like constantly getting the same look, thinking that I'm gonna sound the exact same as these other people and just already being discredited before I can even finish my sentence is just it's it's just gotten old at this point. And in high school, like I definitely had some negative feedback on doing the whole music thing. Like very negative people saying that like, you'll never go anywhere, you'll never be good, blah 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 blah, all that typical, very stereotypical, you're never
yeah,
gonna make it stuff. And I never really let it bother me because I was never been in music for like the money or the
right,
fame or anything. I do it because I like making music and I have stuff that I get off my chest. It's this form of therapy for me. Like I don't like to talk about a lot of the stuff that I'm going through, whether it be to friends or family. Like I prefer to just make it this tangible thing that I can listen back to, and it's almost like I'm giving myself advice on how to handle these situations that I've been in. And if I help some people along the way, that's a plus.
right. Yeah, I hate the stereotype of local rapper just because it doesn't make sense because every mainstream artist at one point or another was just that. They were a local rapper that happened to find success. It's nobody can predict who's going to make it and who's not, but they want to instantly just kind of write everyone off.
Absolutely.
You had said that your mom wasn't too fond of Eminem. So what does she think about the music you're making since it is hip hop and not country or classic rock like you grew up on?
I mean, she's very supportive. She knows what it means to me. Like like a while ago, like when I first started and first actually like started getting into studios and recording, like I never really play it for her anyway, but she's like, she kind of hates that I use the language that I do,
Yeah.
in it and the way that I talk. Um, but even if like she doesn't really listen to my music too much, but she knows really just what it means to me, and she's very supportive of it. And I've actually played her some recent stuff, and she's really liked it, and has always been um, very uplifting and supportive of me doing this, whether as a career or a hobby or whatever I choose to do with it.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's always nice having a good support cast
Mm-hmm.
backing you.
That's 100%.
Who would you say are some artists that kind of influenced your style
Oh,
of music?
so there's a lot. I feel like every artist I listen to has some kind of impact on what I make. Um, a lot of Eminem and NF like esque feeling, kind of
Yeah.
like their, oh damn it, what's the word? Like their aesthetic kind of
Yeah.
comes through a lot in my music, especially through like my instrumentals or my flow patterns. Um, but Kendrick, Cole, Chris Webby, Hobson, um, Dre, Jay-Z, Kanye, like they all have their special place that I kind of um like that kind of influences me in their own way. Like when it comes, if there's anybody I could be like though, I would love to have the poetic capabilities of J. Cole. Like
Yeah.
anytime I hear that dude on a record, I'm just like that man can rap. That man is making real music, and I'm envious of it, but I respect him with every bone in my body. Like the way that he just puts things together and the way that he is able to speak over an instrumental is just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, his flow is probably one of the most intricate ways of delivering punchlines, and it's almost like he's just talking to you the way he
Yes.
raps.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I would love to get to that level, but I mean that dude's one of the goats. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever get there. And if I get anywhere close, even if close is like 10 miles away, if I could get somewhere anywhere near J. Cole, that would be the day. I would be happy.
Do you have any like crazy or like funny stories that you've had like happen recently?
Like just about anything?
Yeah, just about anything in your personal life to music.
I mean, I definitely have my fair share of funny moments, usually just hanging out with friends. So they're kind of like dumb funny. But nothing that really sticks out, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. Anything like crazy funny, or usually it's like inside joke type stuff. So I don't know. I don't think so. If I'll come back to that if I can think of something that like pops up.
That'll work. What's one thing you can't live without?
One thing that I can't live without. Oh man. There's a lot that I can't live without.
Aside from like your essentials of like food and water and stuff like that. Like that one pleasurable thing, like that thing that brings you comfort.
Probably my phone. Like mostly just because it has all my music on it. Like not even my music, just like the music I like listening to. Like I don't know what I would do without music.
Yeah, I'm probably the same way. I listen to music about 9% of the day.
Yeah.
That's about all I do. So we're going to play our first game. Well, this is actually our only game for this interview. We're going to it's called Rank These Albums.
Okay.
I had you send me some artists and a message earlier today, or the other day.
Yep.
So we're going to start with Eminem, and you'll rank them from your favorite to your least favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I selected 6 of his albums.
Okay.
We have the Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP, The Eminem Show, Relapse, Recovery, and Kamikaze.
Okay. So, out of those, did you say Encore?
I did not, but you can throw Encore in there if you'd like.
Okay, I was just making sure because we went through the other ones. So, I think at the top of my list would probably have to be. Oh shit. So I've always been a huge fan of the Eminem Show. I know almost every word to every song on that album, but I'm having a hard time kind of ranking it because the Mathers LP has Stan on it, and that's a hard decision. Honestly, though, I think I'm gonna have to go with Slim Shady LP as my favorite, or Eminem Show is my favorite.
Okay.
Just because of like that was like most of what I heard for the first time from Eminem, and that's like kind of what got me into him and like hip hop music in its entirety. So Eminem Show first, and then probably this is probably going to be super controversial. Probably Recovery. Because that's kind of also what I was growing up on. Like I wasn't like being 23. I was born and a toddler when the first 2 came out. The Eminem or Slim Shady LP and the Marshall Mathers LP. So it's like those don't have the same impact that I think they did on me that they did on the rest of the world. But I think Recovery is super slept on. Like I don't think it gets the respect that it deserves.
I would agree.
So,
I was a big fan of Recovery.
I think I would have to go with that. And then third I think would be this. Trying to remember what songs came on the Mathers LP.
That had
The Way I Am,
The Way I Am,
Real Slim Shady. They had a lot of good ones. Yeah. Okay. So we'll go with the Mathers LP in third place, and then oh damn, Kamikaze and Slim Shady LP for sure over Kamikaze. Like, I definitely have to go with that. So Eminem Show, Recovery, Mathers, Slim Shady. Oh, and we have Relapse, and then Kamikaze.
Okay. Yeah, I think Relapse is another album that it was slept on. I think it was kind of ahead of its time. Because I gave it replay not that long ago, and it actually sounds better than it did to me when it came out. Because I wasn't a fan of it then, but I am actually a fan of it now, going back and re-listening to a lot of it. But that's a solid lineup. I mean, I'm a huge Eminem fan, so I can't knock anybody with ranking them by favorite to least favorite. It's like you said, too, you're 23, so...
Yeah. Everybody has their own preference, too. Like, I know that, like, my opinions would be controversial to somebody who grew up in the 90s or, like, even the early 2000s, like, who are able to remember him, like, coming on the scene. Like, my older sister is the most diehard Eminem fan that I know. Like, she's low-key crazy about it, like, in the best way. But she would definitely have a different opinion than me. She'd probably hate me for saying that I like Recovery better than the Slim Shady LP. But it's like, it means more to me. Like, that was the Eminem that I grew up on, and that was the era that I was there for. Like, it was just what it is to me. It's that nostalgia. Like, the Slim Shady LP isn't as nostalgic for me, but ranking his albums is like, it's unfair, man, because like, even if you don't like the album as a whole,
each album has something nice on it that it's hard to try and compare them.
Right. Like, I feel like I'd have an easier time ranking songs than I would albums.
Yeah, I could see that, because when you're doing an album, it's a whole body of work, whereas the single, it's just the one track to the one track.
Yeah.
So, moving on, we're going to go to Chris Webby. I actually have him broke down into 2 categories.
Okay.
I have 4 of his mixtapes.
Okay.
I'll have you rank, and then I'll have you also rank 5 singles of his, the Raw Thoughts series.
Okay.
So we'll start with Raw Thoughts 1 through 5, least favorite to favorite.
Okay. Raw Thoughts 3, the one where I think that was the one where he dissed Lil Xan.
Yes,
that is my least favorite. Not that it was bad, but I know that it doesn't hold
it's
the same.
very particularly aimed at one person, where generally they're always about 15 to 20 people.
And it just didn't feel nearly as raw to me. I don't know. It's just, I feel like that was a fight that he didn't need to fight, even though he did completely pummel him into the ground.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody really expected Lil Xan to even try and make a comeback from it. That's not who he is. He's not a lyrical rapper by any means.
No. So that whole situation, like, I thought it was funny, but it wasn't that type of beef that I was, like, going crazy about. So that one is my least favorite. I really like just the first. I think the first Raw Thoughts would be my favorite, just because it opened up
my favorite.
That whole category. And then I'm trying to remember what happened on 4. 4 and 5 were pretty similar.
Yeah, they're both very. 5 was more COVID related. 4 was more Trump versus Biden related.
Okay, so 1, 4, probably 2, because that was the one where he was dissing all, like, the
celebrity actors.
Yep, all the people involved in Hollywood. That one I thought was great. And then 5, and then 3.
Okay. And then we've got his 4 mixtapes: Wednesday, Next Wednesday, Wednesday After Next, and 28 Wednesdays Later.
Okay. So, I've literally listened to each of those like 100 times, and I think I'm probably gonna have to have you remind me by color, because I don't remember them by title. I know that.
Let me pull them up real fast.
I know that there's what? Red, yellow, black, purple, and
Blue.
blue.
I want to say.
So I think I'm trying to remember which one came out first because I know it's Wednesday. Wednesday is probably my favorite, the very first one, and then I like a lot of songs off the black one, whichever that one. I think that was 28. Was that
That's
28?
28 Wednesdays later.
Yep, I like that one. And then probably the purple one.
Still Wednesday.
Yep, that was yep. And then oh shit, I'm like starting to like remember all the singles too.
Yeah. So with color, it's Wednesday is blue. Wednesday after next was yellow. Next Wednesday is red. Still Wednesday was purple, and 28 Wednesdays later is black.
Okay, so we'll go blue, black, red, purple, yellow.
Okay. Yeah, Wednesday is probably my favorite out of all those because Rookie of the Year was fire. I liked a lot of the songs on that album. That was actually the first album that first time I'd ever listened to Chris Webby and put me on to him. That also had the original Raw Thoughts on it that I was a huge fan of.
Yeah, that was that. I remember him releasing those songs for that particular mixtape the first year I got in college. And that was like a super stressful time for me, you know, huge change in my life. And having him kind of ground me every week, knowing like having something to look forward to that was something that kind of existed before I got there kind of helped keep me centered. So like every song on that mixtape, even the ones that didn't make it on the mixtape itself, because he dropped like probably like 20 some songs like week after week after week after week.
I will give him credit. He was probably one of the first artists to kind of like figure out an algorithm because it was every Wednesday he had something being uploaded.
Yep. Songs, videos, like merchandise, like whatever it was, he was doing something. And that always gave me something to look forward to. And I love that he's back doing it again. Yeah.
As of just last week, right? It was the Metaverse Reverse. Yep. All right. So we're going to move on to NF. He's got 4 albums. We've got Mansion, Therapy Session, Perception, and The Search.
Okay. All right. Dude, this is hard because this is my favorite. Like right now, if this man dropped an album right now, I would leave. I would leave this live stream. That's how much I love him. Okay. So Therapy Session is what got me into NF. That was the very first album that I listened to.
Same.
So that one is high. But I don't. Oh, so only 4? Damn. Okay. All right. Mansion is last. So I'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, or 4, 3, 2, 1. So Mansion in last place, then Therapy Session, then Perception, and The Search would be my favorite. So Search, Perception, Therapy Session, Mansion.
All right. Mine is pretty similar with how you heard Therapy Session first. I had heard, I can't remember what song it was off Therapy Session first. I think it was How Could You Leave Us?
Yeah.
I listened to that. I could relate to that song because I had lost my dad in a similar way that he lost his mom. So it kind of like made me connect. Then I went back and saw he had an album already with Mansion. So I listened to that. I liked the actual song Mansion. Mm-hmm. That's probably my favorite song off that album. But then with Perception and The Search, I do like The Search better than Perception. So for me, it's probably from 4 to 1. I would probably do Mansion, Perception, The Search, and then Therapy Session. I will also say I've seen him live, and he is amazing live. He does he's very energetic with the crowd.
Oh, yeah. I just saw him, like, not last year, but the year before.
Yeah, I saw him, I want to say it was like a month after The Search came out.
That was, I was on that tour. That was crazy. I was like almost front row. Like the man was he sat down on the stage at one point and I could almost touch him. Like he was just out of arm length reach. And I was like, I was fangirling so hard. Like, I was so happy to be there.
It was after I saw him after Perception, not The Search. The Search just came out. I don't know why I said that. I realized in my head that The Search isn't the one that has the song with Hobson and stuff. I
Yep.
saw him on his tour for Perception.
Okay. Yeah. The song with Hobson came out for Clouds.
Oh, that is Clouds. You're right. Okay. Hey, I don't know why I didn't write Clouds down.
Clouds is also good. That'd probably be my second favorite.
Yeah, I liked Clouds. I think it was cool because it was like the first time he used other artists that had like reasonable name to them, like with Hobson and having Tech Nine. That was it. I liked that song with Tech Nine a lot.
I like the one with Hobson. I actually remixed that. Like, I love that beat so much. Did my own little version of it.
Okay, so then never mind. I was wrong. I saw him on the Search tour. My brain ain't working today, apparently.
All good.
So next we have Logic. We've got his album Everybody, Young Sinatra 4, No Pressure, and Bobby Tarantino 1 and Bobby Tarantino 2.
Bobby Tarantino 2 is my favorite. Put that out there right now. And then Everybody is my least favorite. Just because, like, trying to listen to the album front to back was just super hard. Like, it didn't, like, I understand what he was trying to do and the message that he was trying to send, but it's like, when you make an album, you want your music to speak for you, and he was interjecting himself a lot. And I mean, I love the message. I love everything that everybody was trying to do, but just like as an album, he had like a 2-minute song where he was talking for the last 3 to 4 or 5 minutes, like a lot of interludes, a lot of stuff that just wasn't music on the album. And it's like when an artist drops an album, like, you want to hear it for the music, you want to hear what they're trying to say through their songs, and there wasn't a whole lot of that. And it's like one of my favorites on there, Take It Back, or Take Me, I can't remember what it is. Take Me Back, Take It Back. But it's like, that song was so good up until like he talked over the last 5 minutes of it. And I was like, damn. So that one is just in last place just because of how it was put together. And then did you say Young Sinatra 4?
Yes.
Young Sinatra 4 is my second favorite. So Bobby Tarantino 2, Young Sinatra 4, probably No Pressure, and then Bobby Tarantino 1, and then Everybody. It was just 5, right? Or am I missing one?
No, that was all 5.
Yeah. So I think that's how I would rank them.
Did you listen to his album Under Pressure when that came out?
Not right when it came out. I actually didn't know who Logic was. My friend actually introduced me. He showed me Nicki.
Okay.
Off that album, and that was kind of what got me into Logic. We were actually in class, and we had like a free 5 minutes. He's like, "Bro, you heard of Logic?" I was like, "Who?" He's like, "Oh shit, come over here and listen to this." And I heard Nicki, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! What the hell is this?" And yeah, so I actually saw Logic on the Everybody tour, or not the Everybody tour, the Bobby Tarantino 2 tour, and NF was his opener. So I got to see NF and Logic at the same concert, and that I was so happy. Like, that was one of my great experiences.
I almost went to that tour because I'm down by Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
And there was one weekend where we didn't have anything going on, and I was just like searching things that were happening over the weekend. And there was a Logic show where he had NF as an opener along with Kyle.
Yep.
I almost went to it, and I was really bummed that I chose not to because I liked all 3 artists, and then I ended up getting to see NF. So it all worked out. I still need to see Logic and Kyle live.
Yeah, that was a great concert. I actually showed up. I went early, and I showed up at the end of Kyle's set just before NF got on stage. And he came out, and he was in the cage, and that was how it started. I was screaming so loud. I was so happy to be there. By the end of the night, I didn't have a voice. Couldn't hear anything. I would have changed nothing, though. I loved that. Every moment of it.
So lastly, we've got Mac Miller, and he has 6 on here that I'll name.
Okay.
We've got Blue Slide Park, Watching Movies with the Sound Off,
Okay.
Good AM,
Yep.
The Divine Feminine,
Mhm.
Swimming, and Circles.
Circles. Okay. So, damn. All right. Hot take, Good AM is one of my favorites. If not, actually, it is my favorite. Good AM is my favorite. I listen to that on repeat so often still, and I don't know why. Everybody thinks I'm crazy for that, but I think it's seriously slept on. Good AM is by far my favorite one.
That's a good album.
With Watching Movies second, and then Blue Side Park, and then Swimming. That's that whole, oh, dude, when my friend showed me the self-care video, I lost it. I was like going crazy, and then I bought the album like as we were watching the video, and I just went home and I listened to the whole thing. And then probably Circles, and then The Divine Feminine.
One of the other artists I've interviewed also had Mac Miller on their list.
Mhm.
Both of you put Divine Feminine at last. I feel
Wow.
like that's a general consensus. A lot of people just didn't care for that album.
I don't know.
I kind of liked it just because it was different, because he was trying to use those like jazzy type beats.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Mac, like, I love Mac and I love his sound. Like, he's so different. And it's like, sometimes it's like hard to like rank it. Like, granted, I did that one fast. But him just having like such a different feel when it comes to music, like, sometimes it's just kind of hard to get into something, even like, especially when what you're already making is so different from anything else. Like, I even have the same problem with Cole a lot of the time, where I love him and respect him as an artist, but some of his music is just difficult to listen to because it's so different. And it's not that I don't like it, it's just I feel like I have to get acclimated to the sound and like to fully understand what's going on.
Yeah, I get that. All right, so we are done with that game, and we'll go back to our questions here. So who are some artists you currently have in your rotation at the moment, whether they're another underground artist or a mainstream artist?
I just listened to that new Kendrick album. So I've been listening to him the last 2 days. You always have NF on my thing. Kanye. I've also been listening to, I can't even think. Ace Hood have a couple songs on the playlist right now with him that I've been listening to.
That's a random name that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
Very often Ace Hood gets brought up in any conversation.
It's yeah. I mean, my Spotify sometimes goes crazy, and like I'll just add a song to my liked, and he just happened to make it in. So I've been listening to him a little bit. Damn, I'm trying to think of this other dude. Like, I think it's like Aaron Tyler. He sounds just like J. Cole, like, swear to God. And I've only heard like 2 or 3 songs by him right now, but I want to look into more into that dude's music. But I've also been listening to a lot of Corday.
I'm a huge fan of Corday. He's young goat.
Very much so. Very much so.
What's your take on Kendrick's new album?
I expected more bangers. Like, I expected it to go a little harder. But I feel like I haven't had the time or like the capacity to sit down and actually like look at everything. Like, it's very much a storytelling album. Like, he is saying a lot, and it's not as much about the music. It's definitely more about the lyrics, like, themselves. And I feel like I need to set some time aside and really go through it and figure out what he's kind of been doing for these last couple years, just completely MIA.
There's a lot to unpack in his new album. It's one that you're not going to understand the album with one listen. It's
No,
one of those you have to listen to multiple times to really
absolutely.
unpack everything he's trying to say in a song.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've listened to it like 2 times through all the way now, and I still feel like I have not even barely scraped the surface. Like I feel like I'm just starting to figure out which song is which at this point, but I'll probably have to listen to it like 10, 15 times before I fully understand what is
No,
going on
yeah.
with that project.
Who would you say is probably your favorite artist at the moment?
NF.
NF.
For sure. NF has been my favorite artist for a while now, basically ever since I found him. Like I like his sound, I like his style, I like the way that he carries himself on like just through his daily life and on social media. Like dude has a chokehold on his fans. Like the way that he does his social media like
Yeah.
marketing, like he'll post something and then delete it like 10 minutes afterwards, and you just have 100,000 people going crazy for it. Like
Yeah.
the loyalty there is just nuts, and I don't see anybody else doing that right now. So I think
Yep.
that is super cool.
No, I agree, and I like that he even uses that in his raps. I can't remember which song it is, but he talks about doing that where he'll post a song and then go MIA, and then he'll tweet something and get the fans excited, and then drop some shit and get his hype right back to where it was at.
I want to think that was The Search. It was definitely a harder song because I know what you're talking about. But I think I'm wrong. I would probably be able to find it in like 10 seconds if I looked.
Yeah,
but
I would too. I was just listening to it the other day too. That's the sad part. Have you got to do many features so far?
I've done a few features for definitely. Mostly. So I have a whole project out with my homie J Mars. I've never actually met the kid, but we talk like at least once a week. He's over on the east side, like on the east side. Like he is in New Jersey right now, but he's from New York. I've been trying to get him to come out to Michigan and hang out for like a week. But he hasn't yet. But I've made a lot of songs with him. He's definitely one of my favorite people to make music with. And then I've also done some other random features for just homies and other friends, that other people I've just met through music. I've also gotten paid for a few features. I've done a couple songs with my friend Austin and Jan Zero. But the features that I'm most proud of, actually, my freshman year of college, granted the song sucked, but I do have credits with High Res and Emilio Rojas.
Oh, nice. Yeah, those are
So,
High Res has gotten a pretty big name for himself over the years.
yeah, he has, and he's still doing a lot. He's doing a lot of advocating for like what is going on right now in the world. So,
yeah,
glad that he's drawing a lot of attention to that using his platform.
Yeah, I remember when crypto started blowing up. He was all about NFTs and crypto last year. I want to say it was on his Twitter. That's
Yeah,
all he was tweeting about was
Doge.
stuff. Aside from NF, I'm assuming, who's another artist that you would want to feature from on a project of yours if you were able to get a feature of anybody with anybody?
Oh man, that's like a really hard question, because I would love to work with everyone that I listen to. I feel like if I were to get a feature from Eminem, that would also be kind of self-explanatory, just because it's like a milestone. Like once you've made a song with Eminem, like you have earned respect. But I think I would really like to do a song with Chris Webby. Like I've been listening to the dude for like damn near a decade, and just I've met him a few times. He's the nicest, coolest dude. And I would really like to just get in the studio with him and just make something fun. Like I'm very versatile when it comes to my music. A lot of my albums are more toned down, a lot more personal, a lot more NF-esque. But like anything else that I drop usually comes out on a mixtape, and that's usually my more fun stuff, my more like more where I'm exploring and trying out new sounds, different flows, and just doing a bunch of different stuff that I don't usually do. So I think that, but honestly, like I have the capabilities to do something fun, and I would love to get a verse from Webby. I think that'd be so sick.
Do you listen to Token at all?
Yeah. Yep.
I like Token. I liked him a lot when he first came out. And then I think it was his second project I wasn't a big fan of, but this new project he released not too that long ago is really fire. I like it a lot.
What was it called? Like Pink or something? Or?
Yeah, Pink.
Yeah.
He got a song with Rico Nasty that's really dope.
Yeah, I don't know if I know that I listened to it through once, but I've been extremely distracted since I had a chance to listen to it. I probably need to listen to it again, but Token is one of those people where it's like, it's fun to listen to it, but it's not like something I can just like vibe to every day. So it's like I have a harder time listening to him.
Completely agree.
But whenever he drops a music video, dude, I'm there. I'm like, all right, what crazy shit is he doing this time?
Yeah, he's very artistic with his music videos. I'll give him props for that because he tries to make the music videos entertaining.
Oh, and they are every time.
Yeah.
Like, I love the video where he's like with his mom. It's like even mom would approve or something. Like, I can't remember what it's called.
All I can think of right now is the Household Name music video because he's like sitting at the dinner table with a girl giving him a blowjob.
Yep. That one's hilarious. But yeah, all his videos are just a fever dream. They're crazy, and I love it. I'm here for it. Like, nobody else is doing that, and
yeah,
that's very impressive.
What do you think? Have you listened to Dax before?
I have listened to Dax. I think that he's good. I have not listened to a lot of his stuff, especially since like he was. I watch Crypt on YouTube a lot. Like I watch him like break down songs and react and stuff. And apparently he was like, Dax was kind of like fucking him over for a while. I think they're cool now, but like he was just kind of going through it. And like when I see somebody that I like and that I respect get screwed over by somebody else, artist wise, person wise, like I just kind of, I'm like, I'm good on that. Like, I don't really care what that person's doing. And that's
I do like Chris too, by the way.
Yeah. So I really liked him. And then I heard all that stuff about him and I was like, oh, well, like if that's how he's treating people, like I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want to listen to him. And that's just kind of what happened. But I mean, he's not even so like he's not my favorite. He is good at what he does, but there's just certain elements about his music that I just don't like. It's nothing personal. It's just preference wise.
For me, there's only one rapper that I just can't stand on even a personal level, and that's Tom McDonald. I think dude is the biggest joke.
I kind of agree. Like I've listened to a couple songs and like just everything about him kind of just irritates me for
he's corny. It's just corny.
He's very corny. That is actually a really, really good way of putting it. It's like he's trying to bring the Slim Shady era to, you know, the 2010s, 2020s, and it's just not working out. Yeah,
especially because like even like he's trying to do what you're saying, but with like the worst flow I've ever heard. Like he tries to not put any like rhythm half the time. It's just like
when it comes to artists, like I will respect an artist most of the time, even if I don't like them. But a big thing for me to get me to listen to anybody's music is their voice. Like if I don't like their voice, I can't stand listening to them. Even if I like them as an artist or I like what they're doing or I like something about them. Like just because I don't like their music personally doesn't mean I won't like them. But Tom McDonald, every time I hear that dude on my screen or like I shut it off because I cannot stand his voice.
Yeah.
Cannot stand his voice. It drives me nuts.
I agree.
And that is just I haven't even gotten past that yet. So
yeah. No.
Until I do that, I'll have my opinions.
So this last game we got here is this or that. I'll present 2 artists to you, and you'll just tell me which one you would prefer to ride around and listen to.
Okay.
Tory Lanez or Chris Brown?
Probably Tory Lanez.
Tory Lanez. Bruno Mars or The Weeknd?
The Weeknd.
DMX or Ja Rule?
DMX.
Jay-Z or Nas?
Jay-Z.
Tupac or Biggie?
You're going to get me in trouble. I don't know. I mean,
it's a tough one. A lot of people have a hard time because, I mean, they're both GOATs.
And it's like they are GOATs, and I do like what I've heard from both of them. And
you are young, so you get a pass.
I also am young, and I have not that whole the whole early the 90s rap era is something that I still have not explored a whole lot yet. If I'm being completely honest, I know that is not I wish that I had a different. I wish I could say otherwise, but it's just not what I've looked into. But honestly, from what I've heard and like the songs that are popular that I've been exposed to, I personally think that if I was just riding around and kind of doing stuff, I think I'd listen to Biggie. Honestly,
2 albums you should check out. One's a Pac and one's a Biggie.
Okay.
Life After Death by Biggie is an amazing album. And then Tupac has an album under the name Machiavelli called The 7-Day Theory.
7-Day Theory.
Which most people put All Eyes on Me as his best album.
Mm-hmm.
I stand by 7-Day Theory is probably his best album. It's very hard, and it came out, and it's a perfect album in my opinion. Like, I don't skip any of the songs. He's on a real aggressive tone the whole album. It's just a great piece of work.
Yeah. I will definitely check those out. I've been meaning to, and it's just like I've been so kind of wrapped up in making my own music and listening to the people that I already know that time kind of flies by, and when I think about it, I'm doing something else, and then I just never get to it. And I feel like that's not a good look on me, but I mean, at the same time, like I know that most of my friends couldn't even name a single Pac or Biggie song just because of where we grew up and how we grew up. And it's just, but I know enough to know that they helped pave the way to where music is today, and I will respect them both for that, along with other artists in that era. So,
G-Unit or Slaughterhouse?
I don't know a lot of Slaughterhouse songs.
That's fair. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just know him because of Royce the 5'9" and his.
I mean, from what I've heard, it's unfortunate that they didn't get popping. They never went mainstream. Because they were good, but I think that I would have to give it to G-Unit.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Cardi B or Nicki Minaj?
Oh, fuck. Oh, my sister's gonna be pissed. She said Slaughterhouse all day. What was the options? I'm sorry.
Cardi B or Nicki Minaj?
Oh, yeah, no wonder. Okay. Cardi B, only because Nicki Minaj's voice drives me crazy after about 30 seconds.
Hey, you're fine, man. XXXTentacion or Juice WRLD?
Juice.
Machine Gun Kelly or Jack Harlow?
Jack Harlow.
Yeah. Do you like his new albums?
Easy dubs, Jack Harlow. I have not listened to the new album yet.
It's amazing. I'm a big fan of his new album.
I'm definitely gonna have to listen to
it. Kevin Gates or Joyner Lucas?
Joyner.
Wiz Khalifa or Kid Cudi?
Oh, you bastard. You motherfucker. Shit. I'm trying to think. Probably Wiz. I think I know more songs by Wiz.
That's fair. I'm a big Cudi fan, but for me, with Cudi, if I only had to ride around to his first 2 albums, I would probably pick Cudi all day. But Wiz has a bigger catalog for me that I really would see myself kind of cruising around and listening to.
Yeah. You've
brought up that you are a huge fan of Jay-Z and Kanye. What are your top 2 tracks from Jay-Z and Kanye?
Tops from Jay-Z, probably they're both Blueprint. So Holy Grail and I think 99 Problems was on that album too.
99 Problems is on Black Album.
Black Album, okay, but that is one of my favorites. And then from Kanye, probably Good Morning and Devil in a I'm blanking. Devil in a new dress?
Oh, Devil and yeah. I'm not good at remembering names.
I'm blanking on a lot right now. Oh, Renegade's a good one too.
Yeah, Renegades is good. I saw your sister that you pointed out.
Yeah, she's
in
the
the chat.
She's the one who would probably have slaughtered me for my ranking of the Eminem albums. Good thing she missed it.
Yeah, Devil in a New Dress, Kanye West.
Yep, Kanye, Heartless. That's also a good song. They both have so many bangers, dude. It's hard.
It is.
Like, in 2 songs, I don't know. And plus, like, I'm sure I'm not even remembering all that I know right now either. But, dude, Kanye has so many songs out, too. So it's like...
He does.
I don't even know where to begin, but I mean, you have to give Graduation. There's always going to be a favorite song.
So I'm about 6 years older than you. For me, Graduation is probably like my 3rd favorite album by Kanye.
Yeah.
College Dropout is probably one of my favorites to this day because just watching how that album got made, his jaw being wired shut.
I thought that was Through the Wire. Okay.
Like, and just from a production standpoint, Kanye is probably one of the best producers to ever do what he's done.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And by the way,
808s and Heartbreaks is probably my 2nd favorite album because he kind of created a whole new subgenre with that album.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I feel that.
Everyone like has a different opinion of what making it in the industry is. What is your definition of making it in the industry?
Making it in the industry for me basically just means having like a loyal fan base, being not even known by everyone, but being able to make a living off it, having it be like your sole job, being respected as an artist. But I don't think fame has anything to do with it. I don't think awards has to do anything with it. I don't think record sales has anything to do with it. I think it's more so about respect and being able to make it a career is what making it means to me.
Everyone has their own opinion, and for me, like, I get everything that you're saying, and surprisingly, nobody has brought up money. Any of the times I've asked that question, it is usually if money gets brought up, it's just they don't want to have to work a 9 to 5 to get by. They just want to be able to make music, and that just be their life, just making music to make the ends meet. So I think that's really dope that so far everyone I've interviewed, it's not all about the money. It's just being able to be comfortable and not having to work a job and then come home and have to write music.
I mean, I wouldn't like if you spend your entire time like if you're making music to chase a bag, you're making music for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. And it shows in your art.
Yeah. Like, and the people who did or don't have the heart in their music, like, I mean, they drop off super fast. Like, they get their bag and then they dip. And it's essentially like if you're doing that, just go listen to 1985 by Cole and you'll figure out exactly what's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
Like,
by the way, love that you brought up that song. KOD, great project.
One of my favorites.
1985, probably the smoothest diss track I've ever heard.
It's because it wasn't
somebody
really
just dissing you nonchalantly through a whole track.
It wasn't. I mean, yeah, he did, but like it was.
But
also,
he did it in like the most humble, respectful way. Like, why are you bringing my name up?
Yep. And that's one of my favorite Cole songs.
That's understandable. Do you currently have like a celebrity crush, like somebody in Hollywood that do you hope that you get to meet one day?
You mean aside from Ryan Reynolds?
I get it.
Honestly, I have a bunch of celebrity crushes. I've always thought Rihanna was like the baddest chick. But I'm also crushing on Ana de Armas at this particular moment. Margot Robbie.
Robbie's fine.
Yeah. So those are probably my top three right now. So
Not a bad top three, man. What would you say has been the hardest thing for you as an artist to like have to overcome?
um I don't know. Honestly, like I mean I've never had a problem like with people talking their shit and saying things to me. Um but I think like something that still sucks to this day um is like constantly like doubting where I am. Like I'm always thinking that I should be further along than I am at this particular moment. Um, that has always been super hard for me because I've always known what I wanted, but getting there was the hard part. And it's like I knew how to get there, but actually being in that moment, figuring out how long it's taking, looking at how long it's taking or how long it's taken, um, it definitely um, can take me out of a good mindset every now and again, especially when I'm going through like a dry spell where I'm just it's constant writer's block or I'm just
Yeah.
uninspired. Um, like that all is very hard for me. But I mean, it's as long as I keep music at the forefront of my mind or just being creative in general. Like my creativity has kind of shifted between music over to photography right now. Like it's something that I'm super into, but I am still making music and doing that a lot. Um, but just when I'm inspired, like is more so when I write at this time in my life. Like if I think of something or if I know I want to make a certain type of song, like that's when I get in the booth. But I'm not out here trying to force anything. Like I'm not like if I find a beat or something, like if I just it has to be the right moment. Like I've gone through and I've written myself practically to death at this point, and I feel like, and I hate taking a break. I feel like I'm wasting my time by taking a break, um, even if it is for a short time, like it is right now. But I think I need it. Like I've put out a ton of projects with over almost nearly 20 songs, like mixtapes in between them, singles. Like I've been
You've been
working,
putting in the work.
huh?
You've been putting in the work.
I have, and I think I've earned a small break, especially with this last project. Like a lot went into um, this last project that I made, and it is by far, to me and to the people who have given me feedback, it is my best body of work to date. And I mean, I still have songs ready to go for when I do decide to start dropping again, but I'm just I've got a lot that I'm trying to figure out in my personal life right now. Um, and until I think I get that all figured out, like I probably won't be recording very much music. And I mean, I'm hoping to have it figured out within like the next couple weeks, month,
Right.
whatever. But um, I think at this point, after 5, 6 years of constant music, um, almost having no days off, like I mean, I think I've earned like a small break just to kind of uh, re-energize and kind of just get back to where I was.
What's probably been the most rewarding thing for you in making music?
Having random people reach out to me and just showing their support, people that I have no idea existed, people in different countries, different states. Um, anytime somebody reaches out to me that I've never met saying that I have had an impact on their life is always and will continue to be one of the coolest things that I've ever heard, because you don't get that doing a whole lot of jobs or a whole lot of just anything, like just having random people from all over the world Instagram DM you and be like, hey, I live in Germany and I just heard your project and I just want to tell you that like this and this resonated with me and it helped me get through this time in my life, or it's speaking to me in this way. Like that will forever be the most rewarding thing to me in this whole music thing.
If you had to, like, if you walked up to somebody on the street and told them you made music, how would you classify your music to them? Like, what would you say is your
Um,
style?
I always say like like we got into this a little bit earlier, like how I don't like to do that, but that's mostly
Yeah.
because I am like when you tell people that you rap or that you make music, you're automatically categorized with these like SoundCloud rapper
Yeah.
esque people. Like you're always classified as having like no flow, using a shit ton of auto tune, and doing all these crazy things that actually make your music sound like shit. Um, but when people are genuine and they do ask me about it, or if I am in a serious conversation about it, I mention that I am like a lyrical rapper, and I always talk about my inspirations, how I draw my inspiration from these super lyrical, super well respected artists, and um, how they kind of affect and influence the music that I make personally.
That's a solid answer. How many music videos have you got to do as of today?
I I think only like 3 or 4.
About 3 or 4?
I mean, I record I guess only like 2, maybe 2, or I think it might be 3 like real music videos. Um, and plus one that's kind of in the works right now. So 4 technically, but no, definitely it's something I definitely want to work on getting more of out in the future. Like I have plans for making more music videos because I just have fun with it. Like
Yeah.
I wish I had more, but I just haven't had like the money or the time to do it, especially being in school full time. Like it's just been like I don't know how my schedule would ever work out. So trying to get something like that scheduled was never even an option until recently. And that's kind of how I've got to shooting the most recent ones.
Because you just released one for your last project. You haven't released one yet for this new album?
I released one for this project. It was for the Nightmares track, but I have another one for this project. I don't know when it'll be done, if it gets done. I have shot in 2 for this project, and only one of them is out right now.
Have you got to perform at any shows? Like do any live shows?
Not yet.
Not yet. Do you look forward to being able to try and start doing those?
I want to at some point. I definitely do. I just, in order to, like to perform live, I wanted to get to a certain level of my craft and my artistry before I even attempted. Because if I'm going out there and I'm putting myself in front of a bunch of random people, I wanted to make sure that I was leaving an impact on them and that they were going to be like, oh shit, who the hell is this guy? And like, I don't want to go out there and sound like everyone else on their local stage who is super forgettable or just kind of a low tier artist because they're so new or they refuse to put any real work in to perfecting their craft. Like I told myself that the only way I would get on stage is if I hit a certain level and I was able to like feel, or at least feel like I was able to leave impact on these people.
I hope that you get to that point where you're ready to start doing shows and you can try and get some, not even just like small venue shows booked, but opening for mainstream artists to be like the opening act.
Yeah.
Just to get your name out there more.
I mean, that would be sick. And I think I'm almost there, honestly.
Awesome.
I seriously think I'm about there. There's just a couple things I need to figure out first. But it's definitely in the near future.
We got 2 segments left here. I have one more question, and then we are going to talk about your discography.
Okay.
Where I'm going to have you tell me a little bit about your creative process. My last question is, what change do you want to see in your community?
In my community?
Yes.
I mean, okay. So just a lot of what we see, like just in the world right now as a whole, like we see a lot of violence, like not even the whole like police violence versus like pedestrian people. There's just like a lot of violence between people them itself. And I don't know why we haven't figured out how to treat each other I don't know why we're still killing this planet while we're killing ourselves.
Yes.
Like, I would like to see a lot more respect and like compassion between people, like in
Kindness
this
and
world.
care,
Yeah.
compassion for one another.
Like, there's just so much negativity ripping the world apart with so much more important things to worry about, that there's just a whole lot going on in the world right now that I feel like we could be better putting our energy into versus hating one another. And I would love to see, instead of people working against each other, more people working with each other.
I agree. I think we live in a time where there's a lot of death to and violence amongst young kids, where there's a lot of kids that aren't even seeing their 18th birthday. And it's just not right to die before you've experienced life to its fullest.
Yeah, agreed.
So lastly, we've got your discography here. I'm pretty sure I might have wrote them in the wrong order, so if I did, I apologize. We'll start with, I believe this is your debut album, All in My Head.
Yep.
What was your creative process for making that album?
So that was I think that was my first year in college. And like, I can't even remember exactly how I was making that album. I know that I was in this little dorm room. I had very little knowledge of mixing, mastering, producing. But I was, at that point in time, I was making all my own instrumentals. I wasn't buying anything. So that was completely produced, self-produced by me, 100%. So I was making all the beats, and then I was writing to them. Usually something would happen to me, or I would have a thought about a song I wanted to make or something I wanted to talk about. I would just make an instrumental to fit it, and then I would write and record, and essentially that was that. But at that point in my life, like my first year in school was really hard for me, getting adjusted to this new way of life, this new way of living. It like a lot of stuff was just going on with me mentally, trying to figure out how to just kind of manage my day-to-day life. And I had a lot in my head that I just wasn't saying. And that was really when music started being this form of therapy for me, this way of getting these thoughts out of my head and becoming something tangible that I could reflect back on and just kind of talk to myself through the music and use it as a coping mechanism. So that's kind of how that project went.
If you can think of it off the top of your head, what's one song off that project somebody should go check out?
I think Yeah was my favorite, just because it was probably the best written song on there. Like, I don't like putting myself down, but that project, like, it was one of my very first projects, and I've been so tempted to take it off streaming platforms, actually, just because I've progressed so far as an artist. So in reality, I probably would not have anyone check out any song from that album, but there is, I can't remember what the title is off the top of my head. I think it's Never Again. And I know that there are people who have been listening to my music since that album came out, and they're still listening to that song, just because it has left like this lasting impact on them. So I'd probably recommend that one, if anyone, just because it's been the most popular song off the album.
Okay. And then your next album on there was Fake Smiles.
Yep. So that was my second year in school, and things were getting better, but I was still kind of having a hard time trying to. That was about when I was starting to really figure out which direction I wanted to go, with music and just with my life in general. And I was going through a lot at that time too. Not nearly in the same way that I was the first year on that first project, but just a whole slew of other problems came along, bunch of like just personal drama, girl drama, heartbreaks, just a whole lot of just, normal people problems, but a lot of which I was experiencing for the first time, or at the scale that, like, it was like the worst version of the experience that far. So that was kind of what was going into that one, was just,
Okay.
it was just a whole lot of life changes and stuff at that time.
What would you say would be that one song you would tell somebody to check out off that project?
Oh shit.
Would you go You and I, since you released a part 2 to that recently?
Probably not, actually. You and I is just like a concept where it's like, it's kind of like, it's that NF concept, but it's my own version of talking to my fear, my flaws, myself, this negative connotation, this negative version of myself. I honestly can't think of the name of the song that I would recommend. I think Fake Smiles. Everything I Know, or was probably the most important song off that project to me personally. It was like an ode to Eon Zero, actually, one of my best friends. He is the man who taught me everything that I know about making music, and has basically helped me survive on my own, doing what I do every day. Taught me how to, still teaches me tips about mixing and mastering, giving me advice on my music. And he's just been a super important person for me this entire time, ever since like 2016, 2017, when I first met him. Like, he has been nothing but helpful and selfless to me, giving me everything that he possibly could to make sure that I succeeded. And I know that he doesn't just do it with me. He does it for just about everyone that he meets. That song personally means a lot to me, just because of what it is. So I would recommend that one, or Voicemail. Voicemail is super important as well, because it's kind of like this is everything I want to say but I never said kind of song, which I feel a lot of people would relate to, whether in the context of what the actual song is regarding, like, relationship drama, or if they interpret it into their own situation. I think people could find a lot of help in that as well.
Okay. Then we move on to Flawed.
Yes.
What was the creative process behind Flawed?
So Flawed was the time where I actually switched up how I was making music. I realized that making my own instrumentals was actually taking a lot of energy out of my process. I realized that it was easier for me to find instrumentals that I liked or that were speaking to me, and then just go straight to the writing process, versus thinking of a song, making an instrumental to fit the way I was feeling, and then writing the lyrics to that instrumental. Like, I cut out like an entire step for this project. And I think that time that I wasn't spending making beats was more time I was spending writing. And this was the first project that I was genuinely 100% proud of, just because I feel like I took a huge step as an artist, both as, like, mostly from a craftsman's standpoint. Like, I feel like I seriously was able to write better, have a more consistent flow. I feel like this is the first project that you could actually listen to, and not want to skip anything, or not feel like it wasn't up to par with other projects. Like, I feel like this one was super important for me to make, because it allowed me to cross so many bridges, between where I was and where I wanted to be.
What's probably your favorite song off this album?
Probably Forgive Me is my personal favorite. I do like a lot of them though. But Forgive Me was just like, it was it was important for me because it was where I discovered I can kind of sing as well as rap. Um, it was an apology just for all the things that I've regretted in my life. Nothing super specific that I got into or that I even want to get into, because I don't honestly know what I wrote it for at this point. It but it was definitely like a closure type piece, for me, and that one just has always kind of stuck out in my mind as being one of my personal favorite songs that I've written.
So we move on to Metamorphosis. What was the process for you in writing this album?
So it was very similar to Flawed. When it came to Flawed, that was kind of a whole big shift in the way that I create music, and that has continued up to now. Like it's still basically the same process where I'm going through and I'm finding these instrumentals. I'm still exploring these newer sounds, these different kind of styles, and Metamorphosis as an album. This was so I had with Flawed, I had hit or gotten to where I wanted to be, and Flawed was a way for me to kind of introduce this change in my artistry and in my sound, and kind of make more of a concrete decision that this is the way that I wanted to go. And that's kind of the whole story behind Metamorphosis, is that it's this change, not just in content or sound, but just this whole shift and change as me as a whole, as an artist, as a person, as just this entity and this brand, this artist, like everything.
What's your favorite track you did on Metamorphosis?
Ooh, I don't know. I have a lot of songs, so
it's hard to pick a favorite.
I have it pulled up right now. Letters to Myself. Yep. So Letters to Myself was by far my personal favorite song on this project, because I still listen to it frequently. This is like, I've written all my songs for myself, like I said, and if anybody else finds something helpful or useful or relatable to those songs, then that's just a bonus. But this is Letters to Myself was the only song I have truly 100% only written for myself. It is the most selfish I've been in all of my projects, and I still listen to it to this day because it still reminds me that not everything is going to be perfect, not everything is going to happen all at once, and it just kind of it keeps me going, it keeps me grounded, and it keeps reminding me that we've come so far from even when, like, where we started, and we as a term for me and my past self, and it's always, every once in a while, at least once a month, I listen to that song just to kind of remind myself that it's okay that I'm where I am right now, and that I don't need to be anywhere else, and that I will get to where I want to be eventually, just like I always have.
I feel that. I mean, not everything you make has to be for your fan base, in my opinion. Everyone should be able to make music that they genuinely also care about. So I think it's great that you actually made a song for yourself. That brings us to your newest release, Sorry I'm Not Here Right Now.
Yeah.
What was the creative process for this album?
So this whole project, like, I had been working so hard, and I was constantly just with people and doing things, and I had never really taken time for myself and kind of relaxed from life. And like mentally I was just not there, like while this was before this was being created. Like I was so drained, so tired. It was like I was on autopilot, and I was there physically, but mentally I just wasn't in the conversation, in the house. Like I was just, it was like I felt like a zombie. This was also about the time that I just started really, really getting over um, depression and all, like, just everything that I had been dealing with for so long. Um, and I took a lot of time during this project just to focus on myself and think about where I needed to be, where I wanted to be, and just focus on getting myself better and figuring out how to enjoy the life that I had. Because for so long I was not enjoying it. I was just, I felt like a shell of a person versus actually being a person. So sorry I'm not here right now. I've set it up in the form of like a voicemail where it's like I haven't been present, and I wasn't present. But essentially I wasn't present because I was trying to do what I thought was best for me. And that's kind of the story behind this whole project.
I really like that, just because I personally have dealt with depression and gone on streaks where, since even creating Overlooked Artist Hosting, where I won't make any social media posts for weeks because I start doubting myself. I get in my own head. I just pretty much drop the ball because I'm trying to fix my mental health, because that's something that people have to understand. You can't make stuff when you're mentally not right.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to cause a hindrance in what you're able to do.
Yep.
So I do like the fact that you also titled the album Sorry I'm Not Here Right Now, and it's got the story of what you had to deal with of trying to get over your battle with depression. So I think that's great and commendable. I haven't got to listen to the album all the way through yet, but the few songs I've listened to off of it, like Reaper, I like that a lot. It's a good album, man. You're making so great music, and I hope you continue to do so.
Thank you, man. I seriously appreciate that.
We are going to go ahead and wrap it up. So if you have anything you want to plug, now the floor is all yours.
I don't really think I have a whole lot to say. I mean, this was an interview. I had a lot of talking. But for anyone out there listening, watching, doing what you do, go stream my new album. Get me some of that stream. No, I'm just kidding. But no, for real, if you're dealing with anything, seek help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And definitely go give me a chance. See if you find anything relatable about my content. Because I feel like while I make music for myself, a lot of it can help you, and a lot of it has helped other people. It's
very relatable.
Yes. So I think that's about all I have to say right now.
If you are watching on YouTube or on Facebook, all of Mxtive's links will be in the description. I'll have his YouTube, his Spotify, his Facebook page, and Instagram page linked. If you're listening on Instagram, he'll be tagged, and also a link to his Instagram page on the description as well.
And thank you so much, man, for having me on here and doing this. I've been wanting to do an interview for so long. So like, I was so happy to get the opportunity to finally be here and do this. So that this was super exciting for me. And I hope that eventually maybe I'll come back in the future.
Yeah, I plan on having guests come back. I don't know if you watch a lot of interviews, but I kind of want to take the no jumper route where I'll interview an artist and then about a year later have them come back and we'll catch up on what they've been doing for the past year and where they're at now compared to where they were at.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I would love to.
Yeah. This is one of the very few interviews you've done. You were a great guest, man. You gave great answers.
Appreciate it.
Not a problem. I appreciate you coming on, man.
All right. Well, have a good rest of your night, man. And I will talk to you very, very soon.
Yep. Take care.